Step up, prep up.
To help keep you free from the risk of HIV.
Descovy for PrEP, a once-daily prescription medicine that helps lower the chances of getting HIV through sex. It's not for everyone. Descovy for PrEP has not been studied in people assigned female at birth. Talk to your doctor to find out if it's right for you.
Descovy is another way to PrEP. Descovy does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections, so it's important to use safer sex practices and get tested regularly. You must be HIV negative to take Descovy for PrEP, so you need to get tested for HIV immediately before and at least every 3 months while taking it. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. They may check to confirm you are still HIV negative. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. The most common side effect was diarrhea. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Descovy without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about your risk of HIV and if Descovy for PrEP is right for you.
Get help paying for Descovy for PrEP. Learn more at stepupprepup.com.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another installment of the Capitol Ballroom Council's Ballroom Conversation. I know you only see me today, but my co-host will be logging in a few seconds. He's stuck in a little bit of traffic, but I just want to jump on and welcome everyone to another one of our shows. This is our Father's Day edition, so it should be really good. While we are waiting for our co-host, I do want to talk about an event that we are co-sponsoring, which is Pride in the Plaza. This is Montgomery County's first Pride event, and they are having a ball. It's open to members of the Kiki scene, Marlin troops, mainstream house and ball community, everybody. So if you're interested, please come on out. It's Sunday, June 27th from 5 to 8 p.m. Each category is $100. It'll be commentated by MC Boom Boom and DJ Tony Play. Also, don't forget, coming soon, 20 questions with the legendary Exotic Miyake Mugler. Coming soon this month. It looks like I have my co-host here, Dante. There you go.
What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm still out in Texas. I'm trying to be like Meg. I'm trying to be, a little Texas hottie and stuff. So I'm still out here or whatever. But yeah, it was
how's
good.
Texas? It looked like it was
Texas,
good this weekend.
Lit. Hot, but lit. Yeah,
I saw. It seemed like it. We know. I guess when we talk to some of the fathers, we might talk a little bit about what's going on or what happened this weekend.
A few of them was there.
Yeah, a few of them was there. Yeah, so let's chat about it. Let me know when you're ready. All right, I'm gonna take that as a yes. All right, so first up on the list, I want to introduce the legendary Banks Ebony. Welcome. Up, you're muted, Banks.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me? Actually, buenos dias.
Awesome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. All right, next up, we have New York father, Lariah Garcon.
Hey, how y'all doing, everybody? What's going on, y'all?
Welcome, and congrats on your win again.
Thank you so much.
All right, next up, we have Father Mario Balenciaga, the Doc.
How you doing, everybody? Good evening. Welcome. Holy shit. Hey. We are here. What's up?
We are here. And next we have none other than East Coast Father Javon Balmain.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How y'all doing?
All right, welcome. Next up, we have Father Jeremy Revlon.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone.
Good evening. And last but not least, we have overall Father Corey St. Laurent. What's going on, Corey?
What's up, guys? What's going on? What's going on?
Good.
My voice is a little shaky today.
Oh, okay. I can dig it. So it looks like my co-host fell again, but we're gonna keep the show going until he pops back on. Again, thank you all for doing this. If y'all saw, we did a show last month. God, I can't believe it was just last month with the mothers for Mother's Day. So we wanted to, do the same with fathers of the ballroom scene. So thank you all for taking time out of your day and sit with us this evening. Any questions before we get started? Nope. Y'all good?
No,
All
I'm
right.
good.
All right. So you guys know the routine. We're going to run through a couple questions, and then we're going to, you guys can just take turns answering them. There's no specific order. Oh, he's back.
Yes.
Dante, there you go. There you go. All right. So, like I said, we're going to get no particular order. We're just going to ask the questions, answer them. Feel free to interact with each other. We're just going to have a conversation today. All right. So, Dante, I'll do the first question.
Yes.
I got you. All right. Fathers.
All right, thank you.
What has been your biggest challenge as a father of a house?
I guess I'll go first. You want to go, Banks?
Yeah, I go.
Go ahead. You got it.
So let's see. I've been a father in the house of Ebony since 2009. So it's been a very, very long time. The biggest challenge is often seeing people get from one stage to another. My big thing is for people to elevate themselves. That when they came around me, I want them to be a better person moving away from me, or as we keep going. And sometimes that's a little difficult. You got to break down a few barriers, some walls and stuff. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do is to kind of bring a person from stage A to stage C.
I'll mute myself. I said, I like the fact that you said from stage A to stage C, because not just A to B, right? There's a part in the middle, so I love that.
Like it's A to Z. It's a lot of parts in the middle. It's a lot of parts. It's not just one.
Right.
You could be dealing with people, in all different facets of life. You know what I'm saying? I've had kids that came in that were extremely intelligent, that were, brainiacs and stuff like that, but they were kind of emotionally challenged. And I've had people with all the confidence in the world come in and they just don't have their regular life together. So it's a challenge to kind of get everybody to a place where they're all consistent and elevating themselves.
I think you muted it again.
Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I'm still muted. I don't know how to operate mute. And what I was saying was, this question is for all of y'all, so any one of y'all can answer. You can just keep on talking.
All right, I'll chime in. There's a couple of things that have been difficult for me. The first one I would say is losing house kids and losing house members that have passed away along the way. That's been a lot. Whew. And just to build those relationships and not expect, just not expect them to pass away so fast within our ballroom careers is just it's a lot. Just losing, peers, and then the younger folks, some people that have taught me some things. It's like, wow, and they're actually gone, And when they left, it took a piece of me away as well, and it's not as easy to bounce back, like I did when they were there. And the other piece is figuring out how to balance, ballroom and work and education. That was a lot too. That was pretty hard. trying to make time for people and still go to school, go to work, show up when you need to, answer the phone in the middle of the night, all that stuff when you know you got to be up in a couple hours. That's been a challenge, but overcame it and learned a lot from it and just allowed it to help develop the person that I am today. So I needed it. It just wasn't easy.
You did it, Doc.
I'm gonna circle back around to that because you actually touched on something I want to circle back around to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll chime in now. I think since I came into the ballroom scene, in the end of 99, 2000, and I come from a time where people were actually really, really motivated to compete and so forth. But nowadays, I think the biggest challenge is just motivating individuals. People have gotten used to being very lackluster and always pretty much looking for the short way out. So I think the main thing for me is just pretty much motivating those individuals. Is almost nowadays where you actually have an event and you posting the event and you telling your kids to come and compete. It's an opportunity for them to get their name out there. And the main thing you hear is, "Oh, I got to do this." So, "Oh, I don't know," or "Oh, the judge is going to try me," or "Oh, this, or that." So, just motivating them and keeping them hungry is really, really, really difficult because they do go through things in their personal life in addition to some of the things that they experience in ballroom, and those things combined together actually ends up hurting them from a mental standpoint because they get unmotivated. So as a parent, as a father figure, you really struggle with trying to motivate those individuals to continue to compete and bring out the best of them. So that's for me.
Mario,
FYI, if you look down, I'm just writing notes.
Oh no, I said
that
was a good answer to Javon. My bad. Just because we gotta stay motivated too, right? And if we're not motivated, then they're not gonna be motivated. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword.
I would love to hear from like Jeremy because he's like a new father. Like I would love to hear like a response from you.
Okay, well, my biggest challenge that I face being a new father is actually agreeing to everything the fella said as far as trying to be active on the floor. So with my training that I have, it's not really high number quality or quantity. I mean, so more where I'm going is by me being a father figure as well as an active ballroom walker. My biggest challenge is trying to be a father while still walking balls, trying to watch my kids walk while mentally preparing my mind to say, you got to get on the floor too. So, and making sure they're not being tried because, as a father figure, if they feel like you're not standing up for them, that's the reason for them to look at you differently. So, my biggest challenge that I face is being at a ball, knowing that I have to walk to represent my brand as well as make sure that my members are active and prepared the same way that I am on the floor as well.
I'll chime in now. I can kind of bite off what Jeremy said. I'm a new father as well. It's been like a year for me. Well, this October will make a year and a half actually. But mine would be more so making myself available. I'm naturally a extrovert, or making myself available to sit on these, special panels, or making myself available to judge balls, or just being around, making myself available to others was kind of a challenge for me that I kind of overcome. So I'm making myself available now to do those things, so I can be the best father that I can be.
That's right.
It's a juggling act. You learn to work it out. It's it's totally, but if you in it for the right thing, then you know what I'm saying. There's also some rewards in it.
I think you're muted again.
Yeah, you muted.
I'm not even gonna touch the mute no more because I don't know what's going on. Because I'm touching the mute button to like write my little note, and I'm forgetting to unmute myself. I'm done. Okay. So I want to circle back around to the the question about motivation. How do you keep yourself and keep your members motivated? Like, what kind of tips and tricks or skills do you do to keep folks motivated?
Well, if As for me, I have to tell my members, being a Revlon, I was always like the underdog. So where the motivation comes in is I let them know like the black sheep eventually turns into the goat. So if you want to be the GOAT, you have to go through those trials of being tried, making them understand who you are and sticking to what you stand for. However, if you're not hitting the floor and you just want to talk crap on the sideline and chant, you're never going to get nowhere because they don't know you on the floor. So how I do that is let them know, hey,
Wait, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Audio went out.
my apologies. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
so I have to inform them like without you being on the floor, you putting in the work, there's no need to be motivated. I don't care what you're doing, get your real job, being funny. We're talking ballroom right now. So you telling me, yeah, daddy, I make $50 an hour. I don't need that little thousand or whatever the case may be. That has nothing to do with you returning who you are on the floor. You know what I'm saying? We want to see what your talent speaks. So my motivation coming to let your talent talk what your mouth talk. And that's how I try to move with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, Jeremy. I think like for me, I try to use a lot of personal experiences. I mean, you can attest to this. Like coming up, we were living in the. I'm originally from the Virginia area, and I came into the scene where people like we used to travel in U-Haul vans and 15 passenger vans, and the houses used to get together. So for me, we were pretty much the underdog for a long period of time. They were like, "Oh, you from Virginia? Oh, you late? Oh, you from Virginia? You go to New York, you get chopped." So for me, it was like I spent years knocking down barriers, knocking down doors. So I use that personal experience with my kids. I tell them all the time, the best ability is being available. And if you're not available to showcase your talents, then you can't complain about what you're not doing. Don't complain about what the judges are doing if you're never hitting the floor. Me personally, we all have been shaded, every single last one of us on this panel. But the reality of the situation is every single person here has pretty much overcame. And I know just personally, we can use our own personal experiences if we're trying to motivate the kids. Because if they hear our success stories, and that'll motivate them to be successful.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're not speaking, just go ahead and mute yourselves.
Yeah, we're
It's
getting
just
some
like
feedback.
background noise.
Yeah, just mute yourself if you're not speaking.
I want to answer. I want to answer the first question about one of the biggest challenges. For
Yes.
me, it's always been about making sure that people understand like the accountability part, right? Like a lot of people only see what the wrongs are that other people are doing. So for me, it's always been trying to get people to understand you have to hold yourself accountable for your role that you played in any given situation. And that's one of the hardest things, no matter if you are a leader, if you are a member, if you're a legend, icon, star, statement, is getting people to understand that you have to take accountability for your actions or your lack of presence or your lack of showing up for something or an event. You want everybody to support you when you have something going on, but you don't support others when they have something going on. But you're the main one talking about, we don't do family things, we don't do this, but then when we do it, you don't show up. So then you become part of the problem, not the solution. So it's accountability for me, one of the biggest challenges. For whatever reason, people don't get that, right? So it's all about accountability.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do to motivate people, being like one of the smallest active houses in the scene, is just really to get people to understand that it does not necessarily take an army to win a ball. It doesn't take an army to showcase your talent. Either you got it or you don't, right? Either you're confident or you're not. It's been plenty of times that when I was part of my old entity before it had closed, before we became St. Laurent's, it was, you may be the only person at the ball. Nobody cheering for you or whatever, but if you are confident, you know your talent, you go out there and you showcase it. Some people, they need that army behind them to make it work. And if that's what you need, there are houses for that as well. But it's all about just showing people that you are enough. You don't need anybody else. You are enough.
Love that.
Oh yeah, I second that. My response is kind of a mixture between Corey's and Jovan's. My first mind says acknowledgments is what helps me to keep people motivated. Acknowledge the folks. Allow them to know that they matter, but just also, make sure that they understand being visible. Coming from Chicago, And the Midwest, speaking to Jovan's point, we always felt like we had to try twice as hard just to get recognized. And I'm not saying if that's right or wrong, but it was reality. And so there was a time where, I was judging walking balls, getting into it with folks, arguing, chopping, this, getting into altercations, when it was just me. And it was not the best thing, I would say, for me, but I learned a lot from that. And I actually met a lot of kids that, would come up to me with an interest in being in the house because of the diversity you had to be, while walking those balls or judging those balls. You had to be all kinds of folks in one night, and at one point, you used to walk and could judge. And so we were doing both, and so just making sure that you acknowledge the people, when you don't know them. And sometimes acknowledging can just be because when it's your time, when your turn comes around and you want to start hosting events and throwing balls and being a part of things and groups, you want people to support you.
Yeah.
You got to show up even when you don't want to.
Even when you don't
stay
want
that way.
I can dig it. That was good. I think, it looks like everyone is like clapping and agreeing with you.
Yeah.
It was like, yes. Show up when you don't want to. All right, Dante, you ready for the next one?
Yeah. All right. So, we talked about the challenges and all the things that, come with being a father, but what has been y'all's most proudest moment as a father? And not most proudest, but proud moment.
I would say just sitting back and watching my kids be successful in all that they're doing on and off the floor, and knowing that I had some say or knowing that I had, some doing and being a part of the movement. It's just a really good feeling to just sit back and watch them do their thing.
Yeah, I can definitely piggyback on that. I think, like you said, that's probably one of the most proudest things. When the situation happened with me and Chanel and we kind of part ways and stuff like that, I had various offers and things like that. And one of the things I was instrumental on was if I come, then my kids are coming. And now, we live in a time in Ballroom where a lot of houses don't accept you and everybody else. They just accept you and they say your kids got to audition individually, and rightfully so. I get it. However, somebody took a chance on me and I took a chance on my kids, and I think back to Southeastern Awards and seeing people that, I brought along with me who were once getting chopped, now getting of the year in different states. And that's just big. I was pretty much clapping harder than they was, because for me, it's like, wow, you did that. And yeah, I was a part of it, but ultimately it took you being dedicated to your craft and believing in me in order for it to happen. And that's one of the main things that we honestly forget when we parent. The kids have to actually believe in the parents for the parents to be successful. And if they don't believe in us, then it's not going to work.
True.
As for me, agreeing with Devon is actually being a father within that 2 years and, receiving Father of the Year, Southeast Father of the Year. And it's like, to me, it's like a proud moment because it's like, I've been a father for within 2 years. I'm already receiving this type of acknowledgement. So agreeing with Javon is to say, hey, I remember getting chopped, and no offense, here it is 8 years later, nothing changed about me. The realness, the vogue, everything is still the same, but now they're looking at it in a different aspect. And to know that within that aspect, it got me Father of the Year, it got hit, like he said, my kids nominated. It just makes me feel proud as a man in general.
I had two pretty proud moments. The first time was when one of my kids was deemed legend. I was really proud. It took years and years of hard work and effort to get into some of these people, and they had like drastically changed from when they started. And to see them really want that and get that, and know that I had a part in helping them along with all of that, that was a very proud moment. And then the other one was to see. I mean, I have a son that graduated with a doctorate, and to know that supporting him. I mean, I was actually his guardian for a while. Like, had to give him checks and get him in school and all that other stuff. And when he graduated with his doctorate, it was just like, did this boy really do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, did he really, really accomplish this? And you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been through this for like the past 10 years and we finally got somewhere. So that was another really proud moment for me.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
People don't realize, y'all, just to say real quick, people don't realize that the parenting and being a father goes way beyond ballroom. It really does. So like that's really dope, Banks. Congratulations to you.
It keeps kicking
Mario.
Yeah, I was gonna. I'm thinking I say my most proud moment was probably getting the father position. It was very controversial after the fact, but I come from an era where you didn't know, so there was no campaigning. There was surprise. I actually threw a ball with Red Escada and Dre Ebony. Icon Dre Ebony in Chicago. It was the ACC ball, all cash categories, years ago. And, you know, the house came up here and Harold surprised me. And it was shock. And it was to the point where, like, they said, did you hear what they said? Father. And I was like, oh, what? You know, because we didn't have any. We didn't have any fathers. It was just Harold and Raquel at the time. Yes, we were all shocked. Like, what?
You know, Harold stingy over there.
But you didn't know. You just did work, and you just allowed, the blood, sweat, and the tears to be recognized. And yeah, you get rewarded. So I would say that. I'd say getting that.
No, I totally agree with you. I did cry when they did make me father.
Stop lying.
I did cry. I hurry up and ran behind the thing. But
I was at the ball. I was at the ball when it happened.
I cried. No shit, I did cry. I had no idea. But go ahead. Next question.
Well, anybody else?
I think there are a lot of proud moments. Being asked at the time, because as most of you know, like, we came from an entity that was closed in 2013. So we really were trying to figure out what was going to be the next step for us in Ballroom. So being asked to be the overall father was a proud moment for me, knowing that people that I've been knowing for like 15 plus years, like, confided in me in such a way that I can lead an entire brand. So it was a lot of work that went into that, right? Trying to talk to the original founders of Saint Laurent, which is, Robbie, and at the time, the first father, Terrence Tate, may he rest in peace. And it was like challenging within that to be able to talk to people and sell an idea to them where they would take their baby and pass it on over to you. So when all of that happened, it was just a proud thing knowing that all the hard work actually is coming to fruition. But just like Banks said, and also Mario and Javon, when it comes to outside of Ballroom, when you see your kids that was kind of like all over the place, and now they're like managers at certain department stores, like high-end stores, or they graduated, got their degree, or they become legendary. All my kids are legends. So obviously something is working, right? So when you see that, it's a proud moment. Or when you have the original founders of the brand telling you, I'm so proud of you. Like, thank you for continuing the legacy and making it kind of your own and keeping things that we kind of had in the 80s the same to this day, right? But with the twist on it. So to hear people from 82, 81 saying like, oh my God, like Saint Laurent is still here. Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Like, that makes you like really, really proud, knowing that all the passion that you put into something, no matter the ups and the downs, that people still support you. They live for you. They love what you're doing with the brand. And you can't get any prouder than that.
True tea. Anyone that's joining us now, this is Ballroom Conversations by the Capital Ballroom Council. Our Father's Day edition. We have father. We're just talking about being a father in Ballroom right now. Feel free to share your comments. Share the live wherever you're watching it from. And yeah, put your comments and we'll get comments or questions and we'll get them answered. So the next question we have is, there's always talk about the division in Ballroom and the problems in ballrooms, there's problems in the houses, right? What are some suggestions or what are your thoughts about how can we develop a more unified ballroom community, if possible?
Ooh,
I'm
that
after
now now
Jeremy.
now that's the biggest that would be the biggest challenge of them all. And I think what happens is I tell my house this all the time. No matter what your last name is in ballroom, you cannot tell anybody on this panel that your house is not the house, period. Nobody else can't tell you that, right? So when it comes to people saying what's top tier or what's the fabbest house or whatever, every house in their own right is the fab
Agreed.
house. So when people have their own ideas of how to make ballroom better, you have to take the ego out, right? You have to take the politics out and have real conversation. And that's one of the hardest things to do, because if somebody feel like at one convening when we talk and I'm not being heard or people don't agree with me, I will find a way to get it done, because in this particular space, you guys did not agree with me. So let me go elsewhere and try to make it happen. If we have a panel for or a committee for deeming someone and somebody did not get all the votes, you have one person that's going to go and find a way to deem them. They're going to have their own board. They're going to call their own people they want to talk to and get that person deemed. So that's one of the biggest challenges, because I think there's a passion within everybody on how to make ballroom great. We may not always agree. We can agree to disagree, but everybody wants to have that power. And when you look at it, no one has all the power because we all can do it. Nobody necessarily owns ballroom. So nobody has that one power, but everybody wants to be the head, the HNIC. They want to be that one person in charge of all the girls. And that's not possible in ballroom. So you have to take the ego out, the politics out, and really listen to people and what works best for the entirety of ballroom, not just your own personal gains or for your own personal kids, et cetera, et cetera.
Love that. Take the ego out.
Yeah, that was really dope. I think the true answer to that question is this right here is an example. We need more of this. We do so much of, Lariah may talk in his personal house group, and Dante may talk in his house group, and Jeremy gonna talk in his house group. We might all talk about different houses because that's just what people do, right? But we sit here, people sit around each other and they say, "Oh no, we cool, everything's good." But the reality of the situation is, if I have a problem with Mario, then I don't talk it out. So what happened is I get on the panel and I shade his house and he do the same thing. Instead of us coming and having more and more open discussions like this, like we're having right now, we need more panels discussions. We need more community events with different houses, not just your house. In addition to that, I definitely feel like there's a huge divide in ballroom with the young generation and the older generation. I feel like it's both of their faults, because the younger generation doesn't truly respect a lot of the older generation, and the older generation is sometimes a little too closed-minded to even listen to the younger generation. So what happens is you have this side versus this side. Instead of you coming up with a council that may be a collaboration of both entities, trying to spear ballroom ahead, because the reality of the situation is we can't move forward without either. We can't, we can have the younger generation turning it, eating and serving it, but we have the older generation who we learn a lot from. But what happens is, when the two parties don't communicate and we don't have panel discussions and we don't learn how to talk and be adults about a situation, instead of saying things inside of our private groups, that's what causes the divisions.
Yeah.
Well, can I feedback off Javon? I personally feel like that's the issue within itself in general, and I'm gonna use it as far as judging a ball. If you see a group of icons on a panel, and just say you see a group of new legends on the panel, you can see that votes are going to go different. The way they're going to judge is going to go different. And so where the confusion come in, because I'm going to use myself and I'm going to use Javon, which is more of an older leader and I'm a newer leader. He's able to communicate with me as an adult, first and foremost, as an adult, to where I'm able to intake what he's saying and learn from it. No disrespect to older generations. Sometimes to me, it just be like a power thing. So they use it to the advantage to where I'm just gonna say, if you was to tell me, your shirt is nice, but that red needs to be going off. The deliverance within it is how I'm gonna intake it. You know what I'm saying? So once again, if you come at me as an adult, like Javon, like I use Javon as an example, and we're able to communicate, because as I said, you said, Father Mario, you come from a generation where it's different than where I come from. So me being a new father, I wouldn't know the level that you went through because I wasn't there around that time. So the only way that I can learn is for you to talk to me, you to tell me, you to deliver the message to me, to where now I can say, oh, okay, now that I know that, I can use that to an advantage to, enhance my house and not so much look at it as competition to where now you're looking at it, oh, it's the August versus the Revlon. It's like, no, Father Mario taught me this to where now so it is. So when the new generation feels this way, me as a father can say, well, no, 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 that is not how it was. This is actually how we counter. But I can't do that if I don't have those type of conversations. It's more so of you got this way and I got this way, and we just gonna stick to it. It's never gonna unify,
Yeah.
I'll go. I think that was beautifully stated by everybody. Jovan and Jeremy, I'm gonna merge you all because that was critical. It's like if we have more honest, open, transparent conversations like this, the relationships are naturally going to build.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is ever an issue inside of the ballroom, we now can go to each other without saying, oh shit, it's about to be some shit, because we built this rapport.
Right.
And it's a respectful rapport. And if you do more of this, you don't mind coming to people in the heat of the moment because down a little bit, because you respect them a little more. And I just think that if we keep doing more of this, excellent, Jovan, keep on, with different levels of folks, generations of people, some older, some younger, some newer, but do it intentionally to bridge the gap, then we'll be able to get somewhere, right? I now feel like inside of a ball, I can speak and say hello, but I can also have a conversation about something that may be happening, at the ball that is indifferent to me or indifferent to you because of today. So I appreciate that. And the other thing I want to say about honesty is I do feel like with open, honest dialogue, I feel like we need to judge harder. I think we need to be more honest about what we say that we want to see. I think that we need to chop more, like it was when I came up. And I'm not that old, so it ain't far gone. It's just I've been at some balls lately. Went to LA in April, went to DC in May, and I'm like, this it's some slide throughs. I think
Everybody got nice.
yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna get there, but there's a lot of sliding through, and the reason why I say that is because when I leave the ball, I hear other leaders talking about X, Y, and Z shouldn't have got through, or this, or they shouldn't have made this far. Well, why get it chopped?
Mario, let me tap on that real quick.
Yes.
The real reason why a lot of things are sliding through is because what's happening is people lack transparency, and too many people are afraid of losing personal relationships for chopping their girlfriends. So what they typically do is they vote for their girlfriends. They vote for a person because the commentator calls this person an icon and they're going against a legend. They vote for this person because, hey, I knew this girl and she used to sleep on my couch. They vote for the girl because, hey, that's my child, even though I know she looked a horrible mess on the floor. They vote for these people, and then what ends up happening is we leave the function, we mad, we angry, we upset, and everybody knows that it was shade. But if everybody knows it's shade, why don't the judges know? Because we're lacking transparency, and we're lacking the ability to be transparent with each other. I may love Jeremy to death, but if Jeremy fall out of his dip, I might chop him tonight. At the end of the night, we still can go to a party afterwards, and he's gonna say, you know what, Javon, I respect. Classic example. They had the ball in Chicago. I had to break the tie. It was against Mousy West and a Balenciaga, right? Yeah. I think it's him, Balenciaga.
Yeah,
Shaq, Mousy was for $1,000. Me and Mousy been knowing each other from back in the day, since 2003. He came to me during the ball. He said, you know what? I appreciate you being honest, or whatever the case may be. And we need more of that, Jovan, because the reality of the situation is that a lot of people that know me would have given me that vote. But see, the reality of the situation is we get mad at one another, and we think that it's the people in the back, it's the people on the side of your shoulder, because he might have been fine with it, but somebody in his house might have been like, oh, Javon trying it, or Javon doing this, Javon doing that. And in the back of his mind, he's like, no, he's not. Sometimes you have to be able to mute the people.
Shit, did he mute himself? Boy, you better come back. You better come back.
Go ahead.
I want to piggyback on what Javon was saying. Like the thing about well, what everybody is talking about when it comes to ballroom, right? As we all know,
Oh yeah.
politics is
Yeah.
always going to be like, welcome back. Politics is going to always be 50% a ballroom. It's always going to be 50% your talent and 50% politics. That's something that you just cannot ever take out of life, right? Like, but it's really how you deliver that. When it comes to people chopping, we seen a period in ballroom where people were being attacked from chopping people and being honest. And a lot of people do not want to be attacked. You've had people that was maced. You had people that their eye socket was knocked out. You had people that was knocked out with bottles. You had people that were jumped by a whole entire house at a ball. I always tell people like I'm a nonviolent person. I mean, I know how to fight. I just don't like fighting, right? And I always advise people to keep their hands to themselves. That's number one. Because if somebody slapped you and somebody end up killing the person, there are no rules to fighting. So just keep your hands to yourself. But it's always going to be 50% talent and 50% politics. I think when it comes to honesty, we want people to be honest, but then when they receive the honesty, people would take that sometime as being shady. Like, okay, if I chop you, maybe it's because you didn't bring back the category said, or maybe I didn't like, your creation or whatever. Chopping is not necessarily one of my strong suits with people. You have to really go against what the category is calling for. I'm one of the judges that like to read what it's calling for. And if you don't bring it how it's supposed to be bought, then yeah, it's going to be a chop. Because a lot of people put a lot into balls. People are spending thousands of dollars. They come and they have their own vision. When you look at categories like the fashion category, to streetwear, the best dress, foot and eye, or whatever, right? There's a plethora of ways that people can bring it. Certain things may not be how I would do it or how my house would do it, but that may be your creative way of bringing your best dress, your streetwear, or what have you. So just because I don't like the shoes, is that a chop per se? That's what he likes for his best dress or his foot and eye wear. So if there's other competitors out there, maybe it's not necessarily a chop because somebody on the side of me, left or right, think that it's a chop. It may not necessarily be a chop. Maybe it's like, okay, well, I see what you were doing. I wouldn't have did that, but okay, tens. And if there's other competitors coming and you like the better one, then maybe you may pick that one. So it's one of those things where you try to get the balance of it all because one, nobody wants to be attacked because nobody wants the ball to be over, right? And then two, is like, is it really a chop or you just don't like it? Do y'all understand that? Because
For
everything you don't
clarity,
like is not
Corey,
a chop.
it's when people go against. As of late, I've been seeing when they're going against categories still getting through. That I'm not talking about if I didn't like it or just for clarity. It's been as of late, all one color is the category, and then people slide through and don't have a one color.
Okay,
let's just keep it 100. Right?
That's the politics.
Yeah,
that's the politics of it. Yeah.
I think that in order for us to be a little bit more unified, it starts with the leaders because everybody else follows the leader, right? So if we can figure out some way to kind of get a common goal, because if we're working on something and we're working on it all together, that unifying factor usually nullifies a lot of the differences that people have with each other when you're working towards a common goal. So I think as leaders, we need to be able to, number one, set a standard and set a good example to what goes on with our kids. I came from being hood. Oh, I'm gonna start cussing. I came from being very, 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 very hood. Like for real. Like I'm straight off the block. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have a degree and all that other stuff, but that didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like I just had a foundation of being, where I was from and what I did. And I tend to carry that into ballroom until I sat and watched some of the leaders. And I watched what they did. Me and Mario went to school together in the 90s. Yeah. Anyway, so, you know what I'm saying? He know how I was. And then I'm watching him like, damn, bro, you all chill stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Like you start taking the lead from other people and setting that example. It starts to kind of nullify a lot of things. I did not have the best relationship with everybody until I learned to kind of grow up and be an adult. And then I tried to explain that to my house. You know what I'm saying? And there was a time where I had evolved a little bit more past them, and I was basically like breaking my neck to get them to come to the level that I was. I mean, but eventually it worked because there is a common respect and there is some camaraderie between us. And I treat my house kids or my gay kids as adults because they are. And I speak to them as if they're an adult all the time. and I make them accountable for different things, and I hold myself that same way. So as you start to progress that and you start to push that out there, that same energy is going to come back. So if we can do that together as leaders and start, being a little bit more accountable for it. Stop going home and throwing that shade in the car on the way back because you had too many drinks and then you want to talk shit about your girlfriend. Or, you get to the clip and it's like, oh, they was being shady all night. They were doing all this other stuff. You don't really know what was going on, So I think that we just have to be a little bit more accountable to it and things will get better. We can start working together instead of pushing ourselves in front of each other.
Yes.
I agree with all you guys. I think keeping the lines of communication open and having these conversations. Also, everyone should feel that no issues are too small or too large, and the continued efforts for change with hard work, can be brought about.
Well, I got a question for you, fellas.
Uh-oh.
How do you,
Go ahead.
so being that like unified, and we speaking of like how you said, Mario, judging realistically, like not being biased. How do you handle those type of things where I'm gonna use myself? Where say if I'm on a panel or so, and then like you said, you got the outsiders that's giving like, you didn't just see what happened. Javon had to break the tie. He voted for the AGA, and I'm looking like, well, I do see it, but it's like, that mean that next, well, man, bitch, you better motherfucking. How do you overcome that portion? Like, you finally got that break. The arguments about both parties. Both overall fathers are your homies. You're able to reach out to them for advice, and now you're in that spotlight where it's like, okay, what do you really do? Because I watch it where now when I walk the ball, whichever house I win again, you got to worry about knowing, oh, I got a lick back. Like, well, why did you have to get a lick back? Because I was being fair for my vote. It was like, I overcome that type of challenges.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Corey looked like he itching. Go ahead. You want to answer that, Corey?
I'm glad
And then I'll jump in after.
I would say this. I'm not one to ask people why they vote the way they vote. That's never my thing. Maybe people in my house may ask people, but it's never my thing because I always felt like the way that people vote is their opinion. Like that's why we have an odd number of judges. So, you may feel like somebody was. I chopped a friend before at the New York City Awards Ball, and the first thing he said was it was shade. Where's the shade from? Like we're friends. We've always been friends. We've never had an issue. But once I chopped you, and I chopped you from the back of the runway, not even like towards the front. I chopped you from the back. So obviously, whoever you were, it was a chop. It was supposed to be different because you was my friend. And they came to the panel like, oh, it's never a chop. Well, tonight it really was. Like, and it created like an issue between us at that moment. We was able to get over it. But the first thing that people think is shade. My whole thing is like, if I know that we don't have any type of beef, no problem, and I'm going to just assume that you're judging fairly. Or sometimes I'll assume that you may give it to your girlfriend because there's always a bias in something, right? Like if two people are extremely talented in their category, runway, performance, and it's like, well, damn, who the fuck do I pick? Like they both are good. It could go either way. If somebody is your kid, like not in your house, but just like your kid or y'all have some type of history, now it's time you have to do something to break this tie or what have you, right? And it may just be only the fact that you know that person from somewhere, not based on the talent anymore, because talent-wise, they were equal. It could go either way, but it's like, damn. So some people say, vogue again, walk again, give me more. And they give you the exact same 100%. So there's always a level of bias in it. I don't know if we can ever really erase that. Like if you know somebody, you know somebody. If you don't, you don't. If you got beef, you got beef. I've always tried to be a fair judge. Like whatever the talent is tonight, not what you did last week, not what I know that you can do in ballroom, I've always judged that way. And I've never had an issue with telling people why I may chop them or vote over them. To this day, you got people that are self-proclaimed legends. They've never been deemed, but they carry this title legendary. Or they carry this title icon and they've never been deemed, but that's what they tell people, right? And they're going back to a year like 2013. Oh, you voted over me. You gave it to the con over me. And I'm like, well, yeah, because this is why. And once I told you that teachable moment, why I gave it to them versus you based on what was presented that night, what is it, 8 years later, you still have a problem with that because you felt like I did a pivot in your ballroom career to stop you from getting that one win in, I'm not even gonna say the town, but in that town that night, right? So the reality, it was DC. So the reality is that you just try to, like, I've always say, like, there are judges who you know are fair. Like, a lot of people have an issue with RR for whatever reason. But to be honest, RR is one of the fairest judges that you could fucking meet in ballroom. It doesn't matter if you are in his house, if you're not in his house. When it comes to, like, let's just say face, right? And people say, oh, well, you got to have face if you want to judge face. No, you don't. You know what the category calls for. You know what it's supposed to look like. And if you got bumps all over your face, why is anybody giving you 10s for face? And then instead of you trying to tell, and then their house parent may get upset that you chopped their kid for face, but they have a neck full of bumps. They have bumps on their cheek, and you want this person to receive 10s. How about you let them go, get a chemical peel, laser hair removal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, whatever it may be, because a lot of people don't like the honesty when you're giving it to them. So it's like, we have hurdles that we have to try to, like, figure out how can we get over that. And like y'all said, we have these panels, we talk about it, but what ends up happening is when you give people brutal honesty, it's shade.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what happens is like you just said, it's shade and everything becomes, this happened because of this versus no, this just wasn't it. Like that wasn't the case.
It wasn't your night, darling.
Yeah, I think, but a lot of us don't know how to understand that.
Well, I think one thing that we can do to help other people understand it is to be consistent. One thing about R. Chanel is he's consistent, so you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
and that speaks to my point of, if we are consistent judges with doing what's right, guess what? The unity is going to come because we all going to be honest. To Jeremy's point, when that peanut gallery, especially if it's my house kids, coming up to me, I turn to them and say, I got this, right? And then I handle it accordingly with the leader. But I'm not gonna, be combative with another leader in the midst of that, because that's what people want to see, right? And you don't always give them that.
Never mind.
So we can talk about it later. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna talk, to my fellow leaders, later if it's something that I disagree. And speaking of a chop, I've chopped someone that rode with me to the ball. I don't know if who knows that situation.
Oh no,
but it was a big thing. And
I'm sure.
Let me catch this Uber.
She didn't talk to me for a year, literally.
Baby, them tires would have been more than
all
flat.
of our girl, but
I think
it was real.
If we want to see a more fair ballroom and more less political and all of that ballroom, then we have to really actually be willing to see that, because even just last week I judged a virtual ball, and a girl was upset because she didn't get my vote and we're girlfriends. It's like, at what point do we decide? You got to decide, either you want it to be fair or you want it to be girl-friendly. So at the end of the day,
Can I ask you a
I was
question about
personally
that?
upset
Like,
because
was it
the girl that beat me did not beat me, but I still love you, Dante.
You said what?
No, I asked the question, was it shade?
I said I was personally upset because the person that win should not have won, but I still love you.
I thought she was eating it over you, Devon, but I thought you looked good. No shade.
I just want to be transparent.
But I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't talking about
you. I just feel like people should just stand on their shit. Stand on it. I mean,
and that's my thing. Like, I'm going to stand on what I said. Like, my vote is my vote, and I don't have no problem with saying what it is. But this not about me. Kenya, what's the next question?
Actually, hold on.
Wait. Hold on.
They're like, stay on here, no?
Hello, I have a question. Dante,
Listen,
you brought it up.
Let's not do this.
Okay, all right. Okay, next question then.
No, go ahead, Corey. Go ahead, Corey.
Y'all getting it real.
I just wanted. I mean, Dante brought it up. I just wanted to know, was it shade though?
No, it was not no shade whatsoever. Okay, so let me go ahead and answer this. I didn't want to do this. I don't even want to give her that platform. But no, it was not no shade whatsoever. I felt like the girl. Okay, so this is what I'll say. And let me be completely honest. In the beginning, I actually gave 10s based off of who she was. So I gave her 10s off of that. But in those battles, I felt like she was eating those girls. But when it came to that final battle, it's no shade. Koi Prodigy was eating it. And when I looked at effect and everything else, he deserved that win. It's no shade. It's no shade. And I'm not going to ever be unfair to somebody, whether they were in my house or not. I could care less about that. It's no shade. We're at this point, we're a runway house. We have so many talented runway girls that I'm never gonna be bitter about a girl that leaves this house, especially 2 years or whatever. And no shade. We got Cameo, we got Dede, we got so many girls. Like, how would it ever be shade? It could never be shade.
Well, I just wanted, because I didn't see the Zoom. I only saw, Japan's live. I only seen his live, so I didn't know what anybody else were giving in the battles. But based on what I saw him giving when he was walking, Japan was walking. Japan was walking for the ancestors.
You watched him work.
I didn't see the other people though. That's what I'm saying. I didn't see other people.
You didn't see Koi.
I didn't see Koi. No.
Yeah, you need to see Koi. No shade.
Okay.
No shade. It was never no shade. I voted, and this is the thing, and I pulled up on Japan's Bigo and said the same thing to her. Like, girl, I voted for you almost every single battle because you were walking. No shade. I'm never gonna take nothing from her. She is a walking girl, but it's no shade. When it came to the final battle for $1,000, I looked at her walk versus Koi's walk. And at the effects, and it's no shade, Koi wanted that 1,000.
Okay, we could go to the next. We can go to the next question.
Yeah, it can never.
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and take a commercial break.
Talking about?
I'm gonna go ahead. Someone else want to chime in? I'm sorry.
No, I thought Arnold asked a question. I was trying to see it, but it went away really quick.
Oh, I can put it back up for you. And after this, we can.
Isn't that the same thing as Jovan voting for the Aga over Mousy? It's opinion based, right? Exactly.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh, please. Let me hold on, panel. Let me explain something. Right? Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. Dante can go outside and smack an old lady, and Honor will swear to God that the lady tripped and fell. Okay.
All right. Let me go to these commercials.
I want to say something so bad, but I'm not.
Let me go ahead to these commercials. Everyone will be right back after a few words from some of our sponsors.
Pride is a moment. Pride is a promise. Pride is a journey. Pride is an awakening. Pride is the love we share.
Dwayne.
Pride is universal. Just say Pride into your Xfinity voice remote to celebrate Pride all year long. With Xfinity, it's Pride all year.
Have you heard of status neutral? What does it mean to be status neutral? Well, it describes a world where HIV is no longer transmitted and its damaging stigma has been removed. Preventative actions like regular HIV and STD testing, condom distribution, PrEP, PEP, needle exchange programs, and others are moving us toward a status-neutral world. Learn more about PrEP, PEP, and U=U at sexualbeing.org.
All right, so we are back. That was fun. All right, so the next question is for you, Dante, if you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready. So All right, so yeah, so after that last conversation we just had, I guess this goes great right into this. So, how do you handle difficult situations among members in your house? So, taking away from people outside of your house, but more so inside.
I will go first since I like to talk, since I got my voice back a little bit. For me, there's certain things I do not allow to happen inside my house group. So if someone talks about somebody in another house, I immediately delete the post, right? If two of my kids are getting into it, and I see where it's going to escalate, your post or your comment may disappear, right? Because I know where it's going to lead to just from experience and what have you. So I always try to, put it out before it even can, go anywhere, right? Um, Another thing is, like I said earlier, accountability. Recently, I had a member call me to talk about another member in a situation that occurred to them that was ballroom but not ballroom. And then the other member called me to tell me about that person, right? And so in both conversations, although they were separately, I was able to get them both to realize what the role that they both played in that. And then everything worked out fine. So I'm always trying to mediate and get people to understand. Now, the old me used to be more like an iron fist, but the new me, I try to be more understanding that everybody has a different walk in life. So, or some people, they're not really all together up here. There's a plethora of things that you're dealing with when you're dealing with said person. So you have to always be open-minded that we all don't process and receive the information the same way. So I try to put it out before anything can happen or whatever. But if it's something where I feel like you're putting the house in danger, you have to go. You have to go. I'm not going to allow you to put the house in danger under no circumstance.
Okay.
To kind of piggyback off the Corey. So I got a real active house. Like they like to, they be so. The first thing I've learned is to. The first thing I've learned is to number one listen to all parties before I even say a word. Um, I found that people start having problems when they start interjecting. They don't know the whole story from everybody. That's that's the number one issue that I've watched with the leaders that I have to train. So you don't have no opinion in this. Let them get their stuff out. Let them say what they got to say. You know what I'm saying? And you mediate what's happening. Um, that's number one. Then number two, I'm going to give you the truth. I'm going to tell you what's fair. I don't like to, in the situations, I don't take sides. I have a child of my own, and I know that he does things that are incorrect or wrong, and I had to, correct those things and make sure that he understood that. So, like Corey was saying with the mediation, you got to kind of get in there and be like, well, you did this part and you did this part. So that's both of y'all have a part to play in this situation. So how are we going to do this? And then the the last thing I always make them do is, what are we going to do from here, not moving forward? You know what I'm saying? How are we going to handle this type of stuff moving forward? What are you going to do and what are you going to do? And it's not something that I give them per se. I want to hear what you're going to do to make this better and what you're going to do to make this better, because I can't. They have to work on it, not you. When it gets too far and rowdy, you got to go. I had an issue where somebody was in a bar and they was disrespecting the panel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand they was upset, but then the house members trying to calm them down. They going crazy on them. And when they got to the front door, I said, I'm going to remove you from my group. We can have a conversation about this in 6 months. Because you know what I'm saying? The tolerating things of that nature, kind of breeds or fosters you to have more and more issues. So you got to kind of nip it in the bud. I've learned that over time, like not to let things linger and take care of them right away, and make sure you get in there and kind of make sure you mediate and get everybody, on a common ground quickly. Because the longer that you let it linger, the worse it gets and it spreads with everybody.
Mm.
Anybody else?
But they pretty much summed it up, honestly.
Well, I think it depends on what it is. I agree with the conversations. I actually have them a lot. I am one that believes in interventions and kind of, interceding. So I'm the one that's, going to get you on a conference call on Zoom and talk your head off for 2 hours and bore you to death. And you're going to be pissed off that you even did it, right? I'm going to just talk till you start falling asleep. So, I was a principal and I did all that kind of shit, when the students were act a fool, and the one thing they don't want to deal with is you having to talk to them about how they should be. So the situation with the 2 house members that had a fight, right, in Atlanta, talked their head off. I talked it off, right, for hours, okay, on the Zoom, then brought in the parents, then they had to develop a PowerPoint presentation and write a paper about why and how you're going to not be able to do that again and be an example for somebody else in case they do it. Now they're going to be able to use your presentation, they have to learn from it. So it just depends.
Oh, wow.
Excuse me, it just depends on what it is. But if you talk folks' head off, you know what I'm saying, they know they got to deal with you for a couple hours in the night, baby. Yeah, they'll slow it down a little bit.
Can I ask a question? Like, but what about the ones that give you "I'm grown"?
Then they gotta go.
Yeah, I don't feel like
you know that. Yeah, the I'm grown. When you're grown, in my opinion, you know how to make better decisions. You are more of an effective decision maker, and so if that ain't happening, then you're not grown. It's just like a person that's grown, disrespecting their parent, in their parent's house, and they, but they scared or intimidated, about the streets or scared to move, to move out the house. If you don't want to hear it, then you move around. There are other places that will allow you to speak to them that way. It just won't happen over here.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that example because I was wondering, was you actually gonna talk about that example?
There's more I would like to say, but it works.
I thought it was to me, even me as another father, and hearing about that's what you came up with. That was so dope to me because I was like, okay, so
that's dope to me. That's dope.
Yeah, versus just a put out and Mario's been a father for a long time. Like one time, Mario's favorite words was "put it out, put it out." So to hear that and me coming from a place that I'm very. Why did this person do the thing that they do? Like that's kind of how I operate this because of my like mental health like little part that like I've watched. So to see even him with that and he like no, like this is how we're gonna go about this. I thought it was so dope.
And by the way, Mario is the teeth for me.
And I've been had these for a long time. This is not the new Buck Beaver stuff. this is authentic. This is going to the dentist as a child. Because this new Buck Beaver stuff, we need to be honest about that. Can we talk about that for a second?
What's the next question?
Because the Buck Beavers, okay. So when we on the panel together and they walk face, I would look at all y'all.
You know what?
I'm just kidding.
All right. I'll go to the next question. So this one is about your inspiration. Who did you learn to be a house father from? Who is your inspiration for the way you lead your house?
Oh, well, as an overall father, to be honest with you, this may sound like really crazy, but I didn't really take inspiration from anybody really because like I have one gay father ever, which is Tobias Allure. And when I moved to DC after college, it was like, there was a lot of things that he taught me just about the gay scene period. Because I had people in my ear like, don't do ballroom. All they're going to do is, take your identity, use your credit card, and things like that, And but he took me under his wing as his son in DC many years ago. And so like, and I had the house father that I did have before he was very stern about certain things and unapologetic about certain things. And it was just like, you go out there, you walk, you don't let ballroom determine what's going to be for you. You have to like, determine what you're going to be to ballroom. And so you kind of like learn a lot of things on your own. And then when we were a part of that entity, it was more like we were doing it as a group. So we were like just natural born leaders. And it wasn't like people were trying to like mold you to be a leader. So my thing is I see how a lot of people run their houses, like knowing like a lot of leaders in ballroom. And I never really wanted to mimic anybody. Like my whole thing is this is my lane. Let me do it my way with the connection that I have with people. I've seen overall fathers sit on the panels and don't show zero emotion when it comes to somebody walking. But I don't give a fuck what house you're in. If you're turning it, you're going to see me get up off the panel, snap my fingers, whatever, and go up for you. You don't have to be in my house for me to do that. But some people will not do that, but that's their way. Some people won't come and talk to you about why they chopped you or why they voted against you or whatever. I would do that. So I just kind of like try to keep my own lane and do it my way or whatever. And how somebody else do theirs, that's their lane. So for me, it's been, and that's me being honest. I've never tried to, I never said I want to be like this person or that person because that's their own thing. We all have a different journey, different lane.
All right. Anybody else?
Well, as for me, Father Tony, if you're watching this, please don't cuss me out later, okay? But that is my inspiration, but it's in a different manner. See, I'm raised off of tough love, so my overall is not calling like, good job out there, son, the way you wrote the members out like you. It's more so the what you did. I know you did not do. So you like, ugh. So where the inspiration come in is being able to get him to call him. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can say right now. There's nothing you can say. All you can say is I'll call you back, son. Okay, all right. And it inspires me because, as I said, if you know him, you're gonna get something. It's gonna be, you look real nice tonight, but so it feels good to be able to hear like, oh, it was a good job y'all did tonight. I appreciate, okay, Father, boom. But outside of it, I honestly am inspired by King James, and the reason why is because I'm a young leader. So to watch a 30-year-old man, actually run a whole organization and to actually be in the same caliber as I tell my overall father. As a new father, I don't like seeing ballots he's my overall's old, not old, but you know what I mean. So how I look at it is your name's supposed to be on ballot. I don't care what state it in. Like as an overall parent, you need to be on those ballots for reasons of it's showing that type of what they're seeing. You feel what I mean? So I get inspired by King James or Little James for the fact of it's more so no matter what state it is, he's gonna make sure even if he don't win, he's on that ballot. It's because what he's giving within his organization, and he's still one of the youngest overalls out there doing it. And that's how I feel like I just turned 30, so I'm still, and I'm just learning the fatherhood, and I'm learning by watching like Javon and Dante, and those type of guys to make me be like, okay, I get what I got to do. So is that part of where the inspiration comes into play for me?
Awesome,
That
thank
was
you for
good.
sharing.
I think I definitely learned from three different I'm gonna say three different entities. The first person being I don't know if many of you know of Tamara's Ova back in Virginia, which was the founder of the House of Ova. So I started as Ova. That's where I got my start from. So I think I learned how the aspect of the making stuff, the renting vans and the fatherly duties from him. But I also feel like I learned a lot of the ballroom side and how to maneuver through ballroom through my father, Fred Chanel. And then I feel like I learned my structure aspect from just being in the military for 10 years. So those three things combined has pretty much made me the person I am. Most of my kids would tell you like I'm very, very, very stern, but people on the outside be like, "Who, Javon? He's really, really nice." And I am. But at the same token, I can be stern too because I just believe in getting stuff done. And I don't believe in procrastinating about anything. So I stay on people. Hey, what are you doing? Let me see it. When you gonna do it? When you gonna get it? When is it gonna be here? And a lot of times they feel like I'm riding them. It's not. I'm just trying to push them to be the best person they can be because I was taught that way.
All right, thank you.
I learned from a few people. The first person who kind of like taught me anything was Lavelle. Lavelle was my original house father. I lived at any time. And Lavelle was like, boy, you need to learn how to walk your category. If you don't get into this tape, Lavelle was the person who got me addicted to ballroom clips. But it taught me so much to watch the history and what people were doing. I learned how to navigate in what was good and what wasn't. You know what I'm saying? By just purely him making me go back, watch these tapes, make sure this is going on, watch what they did, watch what they did. And he couldn't always tell me what to do for my category, but he would always refer me back to go look at this one, go look at that one, go look at this, go look at that. Then there was Dre, Papa Dre. Dre is a stern set. Dre taught me. The first thing that Dre told me, he said, before you come father, you need to go read the Art of War, or you can't be father of it. And I'm like, what? He like, you need to go read the Art of War, and it gave me not only leadership and like tactics on how to do better or how to make my people do better and all that other stuff in ballroom, but I mean, after I read that book, after he put it in my face, like I got my own business. You know what I'm saying? Like I push towards being better and being on top of my game and everything. Work, you know, it's like all aspects of life. And he was always a stern set. It was like, I don't even want to hear it. This is that. But he also was a historian. And he told me about things that happened. Yes. They showed me pictures. They made me watch clips. They explained orally, you know what I'm saying, like the tradition of my house. I've been in the same house for almost 18 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I learned the principles and the value of what my house meant to a lot of other people and what it means to me. And then I learned actually in actuality, I learned my political stuff from Mike and Tayana. Like Mike and Tayana will get on the side of you, they be on each side, and they gonna go. Tayana's like, but you can't judge like that. What is you doing? You can't do it. You gotta do this. Tayana, can you please stop yelling? Okay, just calm down. I got you. And then Uncle Mike is extremely conservative, so I have like the good and the bad on my shoulders all the time. All the time. But it made me even, and it made me a little bit more, wanting to make sure that we had some structure and some things that were going on that was going to be consistent. It got me 5 times out of the year. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I think for me, I've been in ballroom for 8 years. I was brought into ballroom by a mother. For most of my ballroom time until I joined Garcon. I met Fred and I met Whitney, and those are the ones who kind of molded me as far as the father figure of it. But as far as most of my ballroom, it was taught by a mother. So I'm still learning as I go, by watching Fred, by watching Whitney, and Mother Shannon, and the chapter fathers in my house, watching them and learning as I go.
That's real. It's real.
Do we have time for me or no?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna make it brief. I felt like I was a combination of Tony Revlon, Dre Ebony, James Icon, James Conn. Just because every chance I get, when I came in balls and I saw them judging balls, I wanted to be like them. Right. And so every chance I get to have a conversation with them, I made sure I spoke to them in balls. I asked questions. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to know what made you pick this person and why you didn't pick that person. And they would take time and talk to me. And so for me, that was powerful. And I'm talking about younger days. Like I was young, right?
It was hell on wheels. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I just really appreciated them, because of what people said, and they called them mean and all these things. They weren't mean to me.
They weren't mean to me. Yeah.
They had conversations. And when I got old enough, and the status started increasing in ballroom, and now I'm sitting next to them judging, I'm asking questions too. Every chance I get, I'm hitting with something so they can hit me back with something so that when I go home and fly home, I got something to think about. But I made sure that I did. And we need to be, letting our kids know, to be intentional when you have those people in your spaces. Tomorrow we're not promised.
Yeah.
And when we see each other inside of these balls and we state to state, we don't know who's not going to be at the next ball.
Yeah.
what you can today. So I aspired to be like them, as a young person. And then my gay father, ballroom father, is Dre Ebony. When that man, Icon Dre Ebony, when he took time with me as a younger person in ballroom to bring me to my biological family's house in New York, my father's side that I didn't know well, when he drove me to their house and sat with me to make me feel more comfortable with them for the first time, I knew that was going to be my father.
That's over.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
It is.
And this is years. This is probably 2000,
Papa, I know how to suck it, man.
We threw the ball in around 08. This has had to be 2004, 5, 6.
Wow.
But literally, oh, you don't know your father's side like that in the Bronx? I'll show you where they live. I called them. They gave me their address, and he took me to see them. And he sat in the living room with me as I'm talking to my family.
Wow.
So he was your bodyguard. No, I'm just
all that. You know? But it was
no,
important.
Dre,
I needed
Dre
that.
is good.
Yeah, I
I
love
mean,
me
Dre's
some
a
Dre.
good person.
Love
He's
me
a
some
very
Dre.
good
Love me
And
person.
I'll
some
never
Dre.
forget that.
Yeah, James, Dre, all of them are like really good peoples. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Dante, next question.
All right. What's that? All right. So, do you all feel that there are areas in ballroom that fathers need to be more involved and present in?
They need to be more.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Banks.
I think that a father in ballroom still has to kind of extend themselves a little bit outside of the culture. You can't just be dictate to these people that you want them to walk a ball, or they gotta pay some due, or they gotta come to a meeting. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the respect that would go there. It's when I take the time out to, check up with them. I do stuff like go get tested with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, we having a test today. It's go check your ass day. Everybody, let's go. When you know what I'm saying, like we do things together. You know what I'm saying, like we go different places, educational things, fun things. You know what I'm saying, like to build a bond. Where I know that we can talk, so that you can have that type of communication. And I've seen some fathers that just like, I'm like, do you know your kids? Like, stay in your house, and but maybe I take things to a different extreme. I have a real child, so, and I have a son. So when I see these boys, I see my son in them. So when I see that, you know what I'm saying, I want to guide them to the right place. And I know it's not going to take me just saying, hey, we got a meeting next week. Can you be at the meeting? It's going to take some time to say, like, hey, you know what I'm saying, like, how you doing? What's up with work? You need some help with that. Like, you know what I'm saying, like getting in there where, you know what I'm saying, like you can make a change in these young people's lives. Like you can literally see them do a 360. I done had motherfuckers that's hoes that got master's degrees today. You know what I'm saying? Like they came up off my flow. But it was me taking the time to talk to them and, you know what I'm saying, showing them that I'm not gonna judge you for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't tell you each and everything that you're doing, but you gotta recognize that these choices are gonna fall back on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna fall. So what do we want to do from here? And a lot of times it's a let them fall on their face and, you know what I'm saying, like be that bridge. Because a lot of people don't learn if they don't have experience. So a lot of times it's just like, okay, well I'm gonna let you do that. Okay, I told you once. Go ahead, do what you do. I'll be here. I have kids that get so mad. True. We're gonna use Tree as an example. Tree is my child. Tree been my child for 15 years. Tree will go crazy on me, and then but I have to force him to take accountability for some of the things that he does. And when he doesn't take accountability, then I'll be like, okay, well, Tree, we're not having this conversation with you. Come back and, you can give me a side that's going to explain a little bit more than you saying it was this one's fault or that one's fault. Then we can talk again. Until then, I ain't trying to talk to you, Tree. You have a nice day. And he gets really mad. We can go 90 days. And I mean, this is my child. Mario and them, this is my child, like for years and years and years and years. We live together and everything. I'm not going to talk to you until you try to take hold of something that has some accountability towards your actions that you're doing. But sometimes that's what it takes. You got to know your kids. You got to know.
Well, for me, I think that I think for every person it may be different or for every house. I mean, a lot of like you guys leaders, like I came into Ballroom in 1997. So a lot of these like overall fathers or leaders, you know, they may have been like a couple years before me or maybe even 10 years or so before me. But like, so I know a lot about a lot of these people, you know what I'm saying? The good and the bad, right? But I feel like there are in certain entities, there are people who are there for their kids in Ballroom, outside of Ballroom. And there are people who will always spotlight that, right? No matter what, they're going to have a camera on everything they do for their kids because that's the type of person they are. But there are also a lot of silent people that do a lot as leaders that never get the recognition. They're not campaigning for Father of the Year. They're not campaigning for, you know, whatever it may be that other people are doing. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad. I'm just saying there are different type of ways that people help people. Some people help with a camera and some people don't. Some people help with a post and some people don't. I know for myself, the reason why I stated no is because every area that you can possibly be for your kids, I am that person. Right. So like I want everybody to succeed, not only in Ballroom, but also outside of Ballroom. Only you can push me away from you. Right. So I'm going to always ask you, like, you know, hey, do you have life insurance? Hey, do you have this? Hey, do you have that? Because if something happens to you, like I don't want to see a GoFundMe for somebody. That's like, to me, that's crazy. Like when you are out here buying all type of like, you know, $600 sneakers and $2,000 jackets and all of this, where is your health care, right? Where is your life insurance? So, and I know there's so many other leaders in Ballroom, so many other fathers. And I feel like a lot of people don't get the recognition that's really due for them because there are certain people that are people faves. They talk to everybody. They're in everybody's house all the time, or everybody's this, everybody that, and that's fine. I'm not knocking that, but what I'm saying, there's so many people that do not get the recognition for being amazing leaders in their houses. I know quite a few in several houses that would never spotlight anything that they do. So for me, I don't feel like fathers need to be more like visible in certain areas because I know so many fathers who are visible through every aspect of everything with their kids. So maybe for certain people, they may need to show up more.
So I have a question for you, Corey. With what you said as far as, because you giving that intake is definitely a different outlook for me because I didn't go that far into it until you just acknowledged that. However, when you say as far as they don't get the recognition that they deserve, but wouldn't that come amongst their house? And I say that because, as you just indicated, if you're doing all of that behind, not you in per se, I'm just saying in general, if you're behind the scenes and you're making sure they're there, you're making sure they're supported, you're making sure they look good, and you're not the spotlight that's want to be recognized for it, wouldn't that be for your house to say, hey, I just want to give a shout out to so-and-so because without you, there would be no me, or without you doing this, I would have not got there, instead of, you know, because by me not knowing that, how am I able to say, well, damn, you turned that for so-and-so if so-and-so didn't give that type of recognition to you? Do that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. And that's one aspect. Like you can have your house kids make them post about you all day. But if it's not like that $5,000 winner, if it's not the person that's at every single ball making that type of post, a lot of those posts go unlooked, right? So when you have these award balls and you have the people who are the Witches Council and you have all these people that are, you know, the powers to be a ballroom that makes the, well, you know, that's what they call it.
Do not use my term.
I didn't know that was yours. And the thing is that, so you're right in the aspect of, if you love someone, somebody is there for you, make these posts, acknowledge these people. But then when it comes to an of the year, I've personally seen house fathers, regional mothers campaign for the of the year. You'll be at a ball, you're getting your kid ready. You're like, oh, well, you know, I walked this ball, I won that ball. So when it comes time to vote and put my name down, there are people that literally campaign for the of the year. In Ballroom, that's not, although I have countless of the years, that was never my thing. My whole thing was just to present the talents, right? And that's all. If somebody acknowledged me for something, great. If they don't, whatever. Like if I walk labels, I walk foot and I wear. It was only because I had the pieces. It wasn't to get like an of the year. When I was walking body, it wasn't about of the year, but just because I had a good body, I had a nice body. I was working out. I wanted people to, I wanted to showcase that. You know what I'm saying? So For me, it's a little bit different. But when it comes to the people in power per se, to get that acknowledged, there's a lot of politics that go into that other people don't care about that, right? So I get what you're saying. Yeah, if you love someone, if somebody is there for you, make it known to the world, like, yeah, you know, like my dad is doing this, or my brother did that, or whatever, because the small things matter too. As long as you know that you did a good job and somebody appreciate that and recognize that, kudos to you.
Got you. Thanks.
Love that.
Love that. I'll just add that I think that fathers should continue to be just good listeners and be the individuals that our kids know that they can depend on and talk to. The reason why I say that is if we listen to understand them better, we can direct them better. Every single house child is not going to be the same, right? So some are going to have a career route, a technical route, an educational route. Some are going to go into advocacy. If we listen to them and understand them, we can direct them in the right place better, right? They don't necessarily have to be like me. They don't necessarily have to be like you, right? But you pave the way for yourself so that when that ball is over with Saturday night, you feel like somebody.
Yes.
Monday through Friday, that somebody is empowered, you're going to do well on Saturday.
Right.
But when Monday through Friday ain't right, Saturday is not going to be right either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
I want to touch on an area really, really quick. And I know it can be really, really deep, but one personal area that I feel like a lot of fathers could, and this is not to say that fathers aren't already doing it, but maybe I should say that we could continue to try to do it a little bit more, is to try to be, let me see the way to say this. Let me just be blunt. To try to figure out how we can try to find a way to control or at least minimize the amount of drug use that's actually happening to the scene. Because what happens is people, and I don't want to sound judgmental, because I noticed that in the scene, when you start talking about drug use and you start talking about alcohol use, what people try to do as a defense mechanism, they say, well, you're judging, and I'm not judging. What I'm saying is sometimes enough becomes enough. And then what ends up happening is these people, like Banks said earlier when we first started the conversation, people are losing their lives. And then when they lose their lives, everyone's crying on Facebook, everyone's sending these emotional posts, but nobody was there telling them, hey, you need to slow down a little bit on using the coke so much, or you need to slow down so much on doing the weed when you have job applications coming up. You need to slow down a little bit on the alcohol use because hey, you have to go to work the next day. And these are the areas that so many people are afraid to talk about because the drug use has become almost like a common habitat in the community. And I feel like sometimes it gets swept under the rug because everybody's afraid to address the situation because it's a touchy situation, because the minute you touch it, the first thing people automatically go to is that you're being judgmental of me and you're not better than me, or you're not trying to be better than them. You're just trying to help them survive longer.
yeah, I agree, Javon. When we don't say anything, we're normalizing the behavior, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Opposed to still giving the education and the advice and letting them make their own decision. But at least you released it. You put it out there so that they know right from wrong.
Yes.
That's powerful.
So Ryan was going to say something?
Yeah, I was saying, I think when it comes to our female figures, I think there should be more practice, conversation, and action, and taking care of our women. I think it starts with us as far as protecting them and treating them like the women that they are.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, to what Lariah said, I would love to have a panel where you have like some known female figures, known women in ballroom, and people that people actually listen to in ballroom as far as like the male leaders, because there is a real gray area with that conversation about the girls and the boys in ballroom scene, right? There are a lot of girls that feel like the butch queens put them against one another. They feel like they don't have no protection. For a person that goes into the straight scene and the gay scene often, I've realized that, and this is my own personal experience, that ballroom gay people are very protective of the female figures, right? Gay people that I've encountered that are non-ballroom do not care for the female figures at all. And I say this has been my experience. I've gone to card games with gay dudes who are non-ballroom, and somehow there's always a negative discussion about trans women. And I'm always there to protect it, right? There's been situations with certain people in ballroom where a male figure tried a female figure, tried one of the girls, and the first thing we've done was went to that person. Some people have been beat up for trying the wrong girl, right? Some people have been put in their place for trying the girl. There's a lot of people that do protect, and so I would love, because I don't want to go too deep into it on this panel, but I would love to have a discussion panel where you have female figures, women of ballroom, trans women, or non-binary. You know, people just to talk about what is it that you require from us that you feel personally that you're not receiving, or maybe it's just only in their particular entity or family. Because I was just watching a panel of all women that that Tabitha Revlon had, and that was one of the things that they said they wanted to see more Femme Queen categories, and they wanted to also the support. And then so the question was asked, what does that support look like to you? Because I know with certain people, they are all for their girls. And so, like, I know even in my own house, like, you know, there's a line that you want the female figures or the trans girls to have a level of freedom. You don't want to, you know, get at them too much, because you don't want to upset them. You don't want them mad. You don't want this. You don't want that. So you just kind of let them do their own thing. If they show up for the ball, you know, you're like, great. If they don't, it's like, okay, great. Maybe the next ball. So I would love to have an actual panel discussion that we can actually discuss what type of support that people feel like they are not getting that we may be able to give them and do better.
So I can say that we had a similar to what we did tonight with the Father's Day panel. We did a Mother's Day panel, and we had a lot of the active mothers of ballroom on the panel, and we asked them similar questions. And how do you want us as Butch Queens to show up, and how do we support you all? And what do we do? We ask those questions, and they give us some answers. And it's a plug. It's a plug. You can go back and watch the video and you'll see their answers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but we really did. We were very intentional in making sure that we had like the girls on the panel, and we asked how do we show up as Bush Queens to support you? Like not what do y'all do for us, or not how do we like hold your purse or anything else, but like how do we show up to support you all? And I think some of the answers was really good. Well, most of the answers, actually all of the answers were really good.
Yeah.
So I think that there is still a divide, and I hear what you're saying, and I'm definitely with you, because I think there's still so much work that has to be done between us and them. Because I think a lot of times what we feel like is the right way to go about things, and what we feel like is right, is not what they need. We do what we want versus what we think they want versus what they actually need. And so I think it's a thing of us being intentional and understanding that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just to piggyback on what Dante said, you know, in March we did a Women's Day panel with all cis women of ballroom, and last month for Mother's Day we had all the active mothers of ballroom, like we did with you guys. And that was one of the questions that came up, was about how can we support. And actually, Corey, you actually answered it in your answer. One of the things was protect them at all times, not just when we're at a ball, but when we're at those card games and someone's trashing them and saying stuff, for us to protect them, just the way we protect them and claim that we put them on a pedestal in ballroom, protect them the same when we're outside in the streets or we see something going on. That was kind of like the theme that I got, was protect them all the time. But like Dante said, if you go to our YouTube channel, Capital Ballroom Council, or visit our Facebook page, Capital Ballroom Council at Facebook, you can watch the video from the Mother's Day panel. Take the notes. The Mother's Day panel and the Women's Day
I want to
panel.
see it.
Oh yeah, it was really good. It was really good. This is a good pairing. Through I'm glad we was able to do. Subscribe.
Okay.
Quick question, y'all. Did they say that we were doing anything well?
You have to watch and see.
I just want to know. It just
I
made me
think
curious.
some people did.
They did.
I feel like some of them
Mario,
did.
Mario.
Yes.
It wasn't. What I can say is it definitely wasn't a trash session.
It wasn't a trash
It wasn't given the
Okay.
Bush Queens was horrible. It wasn't.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah. No, it was definitely an enlightening conversation.
Yeah.
To hear it from a panel.
What was the original question that we had before I piggyback over what Mariah said?
Before you turned it, do you feel there are areas in ballroom that fathers need to be more involved and present?
Okay.
Yeah. It was still in there. But yeah, no, definitely go back and watch that video. It was really enlightening to have a panel of just like our ballroom mother figures. Talking about what it's like being a mother and experiences and how they would love support. It's very, very interesting. And it's hard to really pick out one person's response because there was so much information that came out of it. All I could really do is advise y'all to watch it. And get some information. All right, looks like Dante's having some camera issues, so I'm gonna go ahead. You're good? All right. You got the next question?
Sure.
All right.
And the last thing I was gonna say about the
go ahead.
The mother's thing is they was all sitting.
They were all sitting,
but they also had beautiful stuff to say, and so it was like it was not just beauty; it was brains as well. And I think that's something that we don't always get to see. But what is?
And I would love to see more of an active role from female figures and from the femme queens. There was a time where we had that a lot, and like I said, I've been at Ballroom since 1997, and there was a time where the girls were like the girls, and they was involved, and then it became the trophy mother thing, and I'm going to do what I want to do, but I would love to see more of an active role from the women of Ballroom. Right, the women of ballroom. There are some that are very dope, and there are a lot of ones that are dope, like with everyday things with their children and stuff like that. But when it comes to ballroom, I want to see the mothers walking the kids to the floor, and the mothers being there and being present and cheering them on, waving for them and snapping for them on the runway and things of that nature. I would love to see more of that as well.
Yeah, I could dig it.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
All right. So my next question for you all, and we're going to this is because it's a very diverse panel. So how do each of y'all lead? And I'm gonna start it off with just because Jeremy looking like that, Jeremy.
Well, I lead actually by what I put on the floor. And what I mean by that is what used to grind my nerves is someone trying to tell me what to do and they don't do anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, bitch, I might not win, but I'm going to every state walking balls, and bitch, you sitting at the house keep telling me what you need me to do. I ain't see you do shit. So I try to lead by saying, hey, if I'm the father and I got to go out here and probably chastise losing to this bitch, you need to get your ass on this floor. Your ass is out. You gone. Because at the end of the day, I can't sit here and keep telling you to walk and do this if I'm not putting in no work on the floor. Or hypothetically speaking, I don't know what you've done to put on the floor. So if you haven't, your resume ain't speaking to me, whether it was 2 years, 5, 10 years, and you're my father or you're my leader, I'm not respecting anything you said. So I try to lead by the example in Ballroom. I'm out there, I'm walking, I'm representing my brand as a father, and if this is what I'm gonna do, I need my members on the same boat. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I try to lead.
Good answer. Who else? Who else wants to chime in on how do they lead?
I feel I lead with my heart. I think it's important to have an open heart and mind because we deal with all types of personalities and genders, etc. So I feel it's best to lead with my heart, and I deal with everybody accordingly.
Dante, how do you lead?
Wait, I'm the interviewer. Don't ask me no question.
Oh, my bad. Well, just like Mariah, I also lead with my heart. And I think that's a blessing, and it's also a curse, right? Because people take advantage of that a lot. There's a situation that I could go into on here, but I'm not, just out of respect. But I will say that when you know thoroughly that you have given a person so much, like just always being there for them, and it's not reciprocated, like even a text like, hello, how are you? Right? And the text doesn't get no response for days, weeks, and you got to hit them again. Hello, are you alive? Are you there? And then they finally respond when they feel like a level of aggression. So it's like you're being completely genuine. You don't want anything from that person other than a connection, and you don't get that. But then yet, I, so I would say this: I lead with my heart, which is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you get to connect with everybody. There is no person in the house of Saint Laurent that I do not know. There is no person in the house of Saint Laurent that I don't have a connection to, regardless if they in Germany, Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Atlanta. I talk to everyone because that's the type of leader I want to be. I can't imagine going to a ball and not knowing who someone is in my house, or people feeling like they can't talk to me if they need me. I've had phone calls at 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 6 a.m. or whatever. And that's why, like, for me, when it comes to the conversation of protecting the girls, I live that, right? I live that. And so when a girl calls me at 6 o'clock because she's out working and she just needs somebody to talk to, no matter how tired I am, I answer that phone call, right? Because I know that may be, her safety moment. Like maybe she's in a situation where she just needs somebody to talk to, and she's like, okay, well, father be up. Let me call father. Yeah, I'm up, but I'm watching TV or I'm in bed or whatever, but I still will take the call. And so when you lead with your heart, it can be a blessing and a curse because you want the best for people. You want people to stick around and stay around. You want people to feel connected to you. And, sometimes it work out, sometimes it don't, right? But that's how I lead with my heart.
So just because you asked, man, and yeah. So I think I will piggyback off of you and Laria's answers, and I agree. I think you lead with your heart, but also I think I lead intentional. And so everything that I do it's not about everybody else. It's about me. And so doing it, I do everything that I do uh, because of the benefit of that person. So I'm always thinking about how can this help them, ballroom or outside of ballroom. How is this going to benefit them? How is it going to help them on the floor and outside of the floor? How is it going to help them in the real world? And like I said earlier, like my thing is, I'm very, when it comes to me, I'm very about mental wellness. How is this going to do for you in your personal space? How is this helping you? Because I want you to be well altogether. Because if you're not well in this point, then you know good to us in ballroom. So that's always my biggest thing. So I make sure that those are my biggest things that I lead with.
Yeah. And people watching, if you have any questions you'd like to ask Heavenly Fathers, please put it in the chat, in the comment section, and we'll get your questions answered.
Well,
Go
I
ahead,
have
Jamie.
actually. So my question is for you guys, because me personally, when I first came in, I've been father for 2 years now. When I came in, I came in off, like you said, with my heart, and it kind of fucked me up a lot because like I know I'm pretty sure y'all deal with where some of the members come so cool with you where they feel like, oh, daddy ain't about to kick me out. Oh, child, I ain't got to bought this ball because my daddy not about to give that. So I had to take the heart out and say, look, I'm gonna love you regardless, and I'm gonna check on you. Like you said, you out making your money, you need to talk to me. But right now, when it comes to this ball, you're not here. And the reason why is because I can't keep giving you my heart and my dedication. And in return, yeah, you might text me back a week later. You text me back 2 weeks later. And in my mind, I'm here for you. I'm here. And you taking it to the advantage of where you feel like it's over. You don't got to hit the floor. And if I come to you about hitting the floor, oh my God, I got other stuff to do. I'm out here trying to make my. So it's like, okay, by you putting your heart in, and this is what I'm getting out. And going back to where when I first came into the game, no disrespect, I love girls down. I came in with no knowledge. So like you said, I wasn't into ballroom. So when you try to compare cisgender women to, trans women, of course, me not having the knowledge because I wasn't in the scene, it used to be like, what? Getting daughters, getting sisters, getting a mother to let me see like,
I might not been that way, but I am that way. It opened my mind to where it said, "Oh, bitch, you're gonna respect her the same fucking way you respect her," and that comes from that what I gathered coming into the ballroom scene itself, not just being gay, but actually coming and meeting them. But going back, sometimes it gets to that point to where I said you put your heart so far into it to where it kind of made me sensitive because I have members that I deal with two of my daughters. I'm like, I'm tired of advertising how beautiful you is and how you're gonna be the next diamond piece, and bitch, you ain't hitting the damn floor for me. And now I gotta say bitch and all this other shit because I try to put the heart in it and go, daughter, you so sickening. Ooh, I love the way you. I'm just letting you know. Now they look at, but baby, when is so and so gonna hit the floor and show this sickening look that you keep talking about? So that's where it's like the heart gotta be put aside and say, I'm gonna advertise you as a trophy, but you're gonna display yourself as a trophy too. You know what I'm saying? So how do y'all handle that when you got that heart into it and now that member's not hitting the floor because they know daddy ain't really about to do shit to me?
Mm-hmm.
That's when
Well, I'm a stern set.
that's
So
when you
there are
you
bylaws.
got was like Mario that if I say keep
Well,
he gonna say put them
well,
out.
the thing is though, Dante. But Dante, the thing is that to answer that particular question, Jeremy, is like you lead with your heart, but the reality is there are still rules and guidelines that you have to follow. At the end of the day, you know that you are part of a house. You know that houses walk balls. You can have a house all day that does absolutely nothing in ballroom, and then it's like, then what are you doing, right? You're not like a contender. You're not present. You're not supportive. But so you want people to hit that floor. So if you got a new person coming in, you give them the bylaws, the rules of the house, and if they don't follow that, you still have to say like, listen, if you don't make this ball, you're going to be out of here. You're on probation or whatever. So I'm a stern set, God knows, but I lead with my heart. And so by me saying that, it's like I want people to know, like once they're in my house, like you have me, you have all of me, not just only for like, hey, you walking this ball, you walking that ball, like hey, have you been tested lately? Hey, what's going on? Hey, da da da. You have life insurance? Hey, whatever. You got your teeth done? I smell delicious. Hey, whatever you're going through, I want to be there for you. And so I also want people to know that they can trust me as well. So I lead with my heart so they can understand, like, you're the type of father that I could tell anything to at any given time. And I know that you're going to have my back and support me. That's the heart side of it. But trust me, there is an iron fist that sits right next to that heart.
Okay, but you didn't answer the question. You gave me the outlaws of what I already knew. The question was, how do you handle
Okay.
those members that you just gave your heart to that don't hit the floor? How do you handle those situations?
Well, no, but that's what I said. Like, if they don't walk the ball, you're on probation or you get put out.
You put them out.
Hey
Yeah.
Jeremy, I'll touch on that really quick. So like I'm like the king of like paperwork. So for me over here, what I do is I put everything on paper. So like if I just like when I see you, I show it to you. But like I do like we got a whole list. This is the expectations. You supposed to walk these two functions. If you don't walk these two functions, you're gonna get out. Okay. And then we make that pretty much transparent across the board. On top of that, I have a list and I be very transparent. So I lead with transparency. I pretty much tell people what I expect from them when they don't meet those expectations and what we have set forth. We done. And at the end of the day, I keep everything documented. And the reason why you have to do that is because we know we live in a world of he say, she say. But one thing you can't overlook is paperwork. So we have like, this is what you're supposed to do. This is when your dues are due. And I post all this stuff in groups. And when I post it in groups, they can see, they don't only see their names, they see their girlfriend names who are slacking. They see leaders who may be slacking. Because if you can't be transparent with your kids, then the problem is you're gonna lose those kids.
Yes.
And that's one of the big things with me. I'm extremely transparent. Because I don't like, my thing is like if I can't say it to you, I'm not gonna say it to nobody else about you.
Yeah.
It's no. I would just echo what Javon said, and what I would honestly say is that it's no shade. Like for me,
I thought you was the host.
I am the host, but I just had to say something about this because it's no shade. Like I've had two of my kids now that my personal kids that were in the house and are no longer in the house because of not paying dues, and it was given when they didn't pay the dues. It was given all right. They got to go. No shade. It's no personal nothing. Like at the end of the day, you're here to do a thing. So it's like, yeah.
So
So
it
we have
don't piss you off,
Maybe.
like you ain't pay your dues, and now you going to this other house, and bitch, you done paid up for a year, you hitting the floor, and I done raised you and done gave you all this kind of counterment, bitch, got you all the levels that you at. If it wasn't for me, bitch, you would not be where you are, and I'm supposed to just be happy to know that you done went to just Balmain, and now you done paid the dues up for a year, you eating the runway up.
Wait,
But here's
Oh,
the
no, you
thing,
have
though.
to.
my
But,
You
heart,
but
have
here's
now
to
the
my
thing.
heart is hurt.
no,
But
Now
here's the
my
thing,
heart is
though.
hurt.
Here's the thing.
For my kids.
The only reason why they paying those dues up for a year at the new house is because they trying to sock it to you. But I come from a ballroom where people used to leave your house one day, leave your house at the ball, and walk in somebody else's house at the same function.
no,
Like old
neither
school,
neither
like
one
that's
of
like people don't care.
neither
But
one of
now
those
things are
girls.
like have changed.
Yeah.
So we have a
No.
question from the audience. Dante, want to read that question?
Happy Father's Day. I am curious to know how the fathers care for their own well-being, having to be a supporter of so many.
It's a
And that's
wonderful
for
question.
Jonathan.
For me,
You hit it.
it's the
Jonathan
gym.
J. Holloway, grandson.
Jonathan J. Holloway. Okay.
You said the gym.
Um.
Yeah, like working out, like that's like a major stress reliever for me. Working out. A lot of like even my like personal friends who are non-ballroom, they always ask like, how do you do it to deal with your biological family, being the overall father of like, you know, an iconic international house, you know, dealing with like all the crazy stuff, right? For me is working out because and I'm very direct with people. I'm not the type of person that will hold on to things and let it fester and then, you know, that stress adds to whatever. Um, I try to like handle any situation head on. I try to be open minded, but for me, dealing with the crazy of it all is working out for me. Definitely the gym. If I didn't have that, I don't really know because there are not too many people that I talk to about like how I may be feeling about a lot of issues. I just kind of like, but I was raised that way too. That had to do with my upbringing or whatever. Like, you know, not let people necessarily see like how things may trouble you. So my outlet has always been to work out in the gym.
Okay.
To piggyback off of what he said, mine's the same thing too. I feel like working out and eating. I'm a foodie, so I love to eat. That's my thing.
Well, as for me, it is my kids. It is my kids because, you know, unfortunately, I don't have real family. I have real family, but I don't have real family, if that makes sense. So, like, God forbid, if I was to die today or tomorrow, I have to bury myself type. You know, you're not going down and just saying, hey, Jeremy's mom and dad, Jeremy just passed away. We need to know the funeral. It's not that type of environment. So my relief comes to my kids. Like, I don't have a father, real life father figure. So I want to be that father figure. I don't give a fuck if you mad. I done cuss you out. You cuss me out. I don't have a dad that I can just call and say, Dad, the day wasn't right. You know, I don't know what to do right now. I'm stressed out. Like, you just talked to me for 5 minutes. So I use my kids as my relief. Like, yeah, you mad right now. You stressed out. Guess what? I don't even want to pay $1,400 a month, but just to have extra room for you to come here, you know, this I don't care because I don't. If I had real parents, maybe my life would have went differently. I didn't get this way until I met Ballroom, you know. So the getting a job, the having a car, and the getting my credit up and getting life insurance didn't come until I got into Ballroom because it was things that I had to learn amongst it. So when people like say negativity about Ballroom, it's kind of like, well, there's some people that wouldn't have been who they are if it wasn't for it. Myself, example, when I met Tony, Javon, you know, I kind of had holy boxers walking around. I was a country boy. So all I really knew how to do was, you know, give a little trade look. You know what I'm saying? But once I got into Ballroom and I met girls, female figures that mamas wasn't accepting them, and I know I'll pull up on the mama, the daddy, the grandma, whoever, to make them feel like that's my daddy. You know what I'm saying? So when they're mad, when they're angry, when they're sad, I still use them to know I don't have real family. So this is what I need. I need this type of stress to make me feel like if my daddy would have just listened to me, I probably wouldn't want to commit suicide back then. Or if my mama would just say, son, I love you whether you gay or not, I wouldn't want to just beat anybody ass. You know what I'm saying? So I use my kids to be my stress relief regardless of any scenario.
Yes.
Let me add to that. So I want to just say this to Jeremy. Continued blessings to you. You don't know who's watching and who's looking, but I can tell that you're doing a wonderful job. I'm one of those people that watch a lot of clips, and you know, a lot of times I'm at the ball, a lot of times I'm not. But when I've seen you at balls, walking or just being there with children, You are doing a wonderful job. So you just keep doing that. And I will add you to the prayer list. Okay. My prayer list. And you know, just to segue, you know, I try to remain rooted in prayer. I've become a more spiritual being. And so I try to make sure that on Sundays I'm at church or I'm watching church. You know, I literally pray at night, literally every night before I go to bed. I pray and pray, and I pray for all kinds of people, whether I talk to them or not. If I know them, I can pray for them. And I pray myself to sleep every night because that's what gives me the strength to get up and do what I got to do the next day. So just, you know, remain rooted in prayer and spirituality and connected to a higher power, whatever that may be.
I know for me, like I guess my escape haven is pretty much I pretty much get high off of helping people. So, you know, being mentoring people on a daily basis, inside and outside of ballroom. In addition to that, you know, I do have a 5-year-old son. He'll be 6 this year by the grace of God. So for me, like being strong for him, leading him, guiding him, teaching him how to be a young, respectable man out here in the world is really, really big for me. A lot of times when I'm at functions, I typically don't do a lot of aftermath because I want to come home and I want to see him and spend time with him. And that keeps me going. That keeps me thriving. In addition to that, you know, I also work, you know, for an elderly facility with a lot of people that have like dementia, Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So I don't take a lot of time off of work. So being able to see their faces when I walk in and you know, and they're actually looking forward to seeing, you know, this young man, you know, that kind of brightens my day. So if I get the chance to just touch somebody like that, for me, that's my escape haven. So
awesome. Thank you. All right. So we only got 3 more questions left for you guys. Next question. If you weren't walking your current category or categories, what category would you walk?
Let me go first. Since Jovan like to help people.
Queen performance.
Oh no, that's you. Since Jovan is high off of helping people, you know. I wasn't gonna say best dressed, but shit, I will.
Well, Dante said he didn't see it. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I never seen it.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
It's not best dressed, but you know, I would because Jovan likes to help people. But to be honest, the call, you know, reserved me is more like streetwear, but the more I don't know, outrageous Mario would say bizarre.
Oh wow, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Okay. That's interesting.
Would never thought.
Me either.
Yeah. I'll go next, y'all. So I know it's kind of crazy, but you know, I always wanted to be like this in another world, like this really dope Butch Queen Vogue film. So yeah.
I feel like I can kind of see that though. Just from my Virginia days, I feel like it. Go ahead.
Piggybacking off of what Javon said, I wish I knew how to vote. Like I feel like that's like the dopest category. Like I wish I knew how to vote. I can't vote. I can't do it, but I wish I knew how to.
He can. I seen clips.
He can.
I think it's the hardest.
He really can.
Oh, he can.
He really can't vote.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For me, it's I wish I could like no homo shit. Like only way I can like feel comfortable in like a scandal is if it's time Vogue, and that's because that's the only way my mind triggers to I gotta be gay for these people right now. So I gotta feel it in something gay, if that makes sense. But
wait, no homo.
I can see you doing film queen real.
Listen, it's work to be. It's work to. It's
Jeremy.
Work to be done. It's work to be done. It's okay.
Jeremy, listen.
It's okay.
Wait, what category did he say?
This space is safe. It's safe.
I think he meant sex siren.
Oh,
like I wish I could just be able to just take my clothes off and just feel. But I'm so like, if it ain't no Billica, I ain't about to do all of that.
Have y'all seen when have
you
y'all
seen your shirt off before? Walking real, right?
No,
I was just about to say you had on some skinny.
Yeah.
No, that's what he said. That's what he said. He said it got to be the beats involved. Y'all gotta.
All the beats. Okay.
Yeah.
Corey, what about you? What category would you walk if you wasn't walking one of your categories?
Film queen performance.
Come on.
Runway or performance. Like definitely runway or either performance. Because like when I practice with the kids and they're voguing and they're walking, I get out there and they'd be like, oh, okay, you can kind of walk. And I'm like, well, yeah. You know, like growing up, like you'd be around certain like them queens and they voguing, you voguing with them. And but I just never had the endurance and I never really tried to learn it fully. But I think that performance, especially like Vogue Femme and like even the twist aspect, because you're emulating a certain style, is one of the hardest things to do in ballroom. Because even for like 30 seconds, you're trying to like duck walk or whatever, your knees hurt, you know, you get a cramp here, you know, you can't dip right. Like, so it's very hard. So that's why like when I watch performance, I feel like if you've never tried to Vogue and you're judging the category, try to Vogue. Just try to Vogue one time.
No
Try to
shade.
Vogue. And then you will understand what I'm saying. Try to Vogue.
No shade. No shade.
I'll be so
out of
I can
breath.
imagine Vogue Femme, but yeah.
Can't do it.
All right. Dante, you got the next question?
Yeah. So how do you all feel about male figure ballroom mothers? It was so. Let me preface this with the fact that we've been doing like these different panels for a minute, and there was a little controversy or a little like thing with people feeling away about certain people not being on there, but even when we did our Mother's Day panel, we made sure we kept it just female mothers. How do you feel about male figure mothers in ballroom?
I love the idea. I think it gives us Bush queens that are more of a motherly figure. Well, not myself, but those that are to showcase those skills, but still remain, ourselves as a male figure compared to the traditional female figure or femme queen that we do have in the scene.
Okay, I got to give me and Jason, we never seen eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? However, I got to give him his roses at this current moment because he said to me, being real doesn't make you a mother, but being a mother can make you real. And I never encountered what he was actually indicating to me at first until I sat and thought about it. And I see female figures that are as real as hell. They're giving you mother but they're just not mother. Whereas, I see him put in his little work. I see him do the girls' makeup. He walk them out. He makes sure they're looking. And even though he's not a femme queen, he's still giving mother to where his daughters are respecting him and calling him mother, even if he don't have the hair and the titties and all of that. So I came to realization, as long as you're calibrating what you're doing and you're putting in that work, you can't judge a person by what they have fits, because that's just like you guys trying to compare like a cisgender woman to a, it's the same thing. If you trying to sit and say, oh, well, you don't have this and that, so you can't say you're a mother, and that's where me and him fell out, because he had to make me see what I'm saying, because I just kept saying, I just don't know. It's too many beautiful girls, So once he said that and I was able to take it, I'm like, I got you, and I'm going to be by your side, Jason,
Thank you for that honesty.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of what he just said, I mean, being a femme queen or being a woman doesn't necessarily make you mother. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily make you motherly, which is another situation I will not go into on here. But what I will say is this, right? Is that there are people who want to cultivate. They want to guide. They want to nurture, right? And they have that aspect. Like they're gonna call me, make sure you're all right. Did you eat? You okay? Whatever. Even though there are a lot of fathers that do that, but from the mother aspect, like because I've always been a stern set. Like I say what I mean what I say. And I used to not really like listen to people. It's just like this is what it is. Either you're with it or you're not. But then there's that soft side that may come and say, listen, you have to hear what they're saying, right? And that's what mothers normally do. And there are two people in particular in ballroom that I think, as far as Butch Queen mothers, have done a great job. Jason will be one of them. When I say a great job, in the sense of what I see with ballroom, like showing up for their house, showing up for their members, being at the balls, being on panels to make people know, like, don't try my house tonight, right? And also exotic. And also with Whitney, when Whitney was very, active in ballroom. So there are a lot of Butch Queens that do an excellent job. So I don't think that there's not a need for it. I feel like if you feel like you are mother and you feel like you can do the work, then go for it. But the idea that, oh no, a Butch Queen cannot be a mother because you're a Butch Queen, that is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah. I agree. Agreed. I remember a lot of Butch Queen mothers growing up. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we're here again. It's
The
fine.
original mother of the House of Saint Laurent was one of the founders, which was Chris. And Butch Queen. He's still around today, but Butch Queen.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Yeah.
If somebody want to do the work, somebody cares about the brand, that cares about the members, they want to see it, they want to love everybody, they want to this, they want to that. Why not? When they are really authentically there for their members in their house.
Mm-hmm.
How can you have a problem with that? You want to put the pretty girl, in the position, right? Because she's pretty.
This not willing to do none of the work.
Yeah, that's when we go back to the thing about trophy mothers. But on that note, Dante, you got the last question. Oh, no, I got the last question. You just asked that one.
You got okay, cool.
All right, so this is our last question, everybody, and we usually ask everybody this at the end of the show. Just what are your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts you want to share with folks that's watching? Any final thoughts?
Do we want to make it more specific and go with our real last question? Like,
go for it.
Okay, so what do you all want your legacy to be at the end of the day when all is said and done? What do you want to leave behind? What do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh, that's such a great question because there's so many different layers to that, right?
Yeah.
Because I had an opportunity at one time, obviously in 2013 when the house that was previously enclosed, that we could have started our own name and our own thing, and we chose not to go that route for several different reasons or whatever. Not that we could not do it. We chose to take a gem, a ballroom, a royal house of ballroom, and bring it back to ballroom. That's the route that we went with. But as far as my legacy is to let people that has ever experienced me to know that there's love and that you are more than enough. No matter what you go to attack in life, if it's a job, education, a relationship of any kind, that you are all you need. You don't need everybody else to be there to make you complete. Like, you are more than enough. Love yourself. And that's what I try to give everybody that ever comes in contact with me. I love hard. Sometimes I don't deliver it in a soft way. It may come off kind of harsh, but I'm always going to tell you what you need to hear and never what you want to hear. I am a fan of no one. Okay. If you know me, most people know this. I made a post and Howard always throw jabs at me about this, but I've only been a fan of one person ever in my entire life. And that was Diana Ross. And I was 5 years old. I don't even know why. I used to cry when she used to come on TV. Hello, America. And I was like, so, but I love that lady for whatever reason. But I'm just only saying, when you come in contact with me, I want you to know that if I'm dead and gone, I want people to realize that, no shade, Corey was the one that always told you like it is, but straight, no chaser, and that he really, really genuinely cared about me, right? And that's more than enough for me. And I'm a top.
Yes. Don't forget that.
All right.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Why y'all falling out though?
Dante.
That's his thing.
Wait, how can I ping my or pin my my OnlyFans? Hold on.
Who want to go next?
I guess for me, I guess my legacy, I just want to be known for being able to for being perseverant and being able to defy the odds. I think so many people have kind of doubted me throughout my entire ballroom career. I took a break, I came back, and then I feel like I came back better than what I was before. And I feel like I've helped a lot of people in the scene. And I've done a lot of things that have kind of went unnoticed, but the people that actually know ballroom know, whereas other people don't. But I feel like if anybody's ever came to me for anything, they've always known.
Did not speak to you in Atlanta. Remember what I told you? What I told you in Atlanta? Yeah, exactly.
You did. I
so we definitely see. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
But no, I think that's just my biggest thing is just being able to defy the odds and being able to assist other people and being better individuals than who they already were before they came in contact with me. So that's my thing.
Yeah. Well, as far as me on a ballroom aspect, with me is I try to get my members to understand it's quality over quantity. So when I'm done with my ballroom legacy, I want them to know I don't give a fuck if McDonald's been around since 1948. And the only thing they got new is the McRibs that come back out in the summer. They might give you a caramel mixed with a strawberry, smoothie, and they're gonna take it away. It's you don't you stand alone. Like I tell my members all the time, only thing I want my legacy to know, you don't want to keep being a house win. Every time you name your win is grand prize, me 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Like, no, you want to be able to say I set the whole lineup and I'm still in that house that you bitches keep reading saying is late and it's this and that. I'm gonna sing your whole lineup. So even when I'm out of ballroom and I'm not on the floor, I want their mind automatically tick. Well, my daddy taught me that I don't have to leave and go be up under no bitch because I'm gonna send that bitch regardless. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I want my legacy to go.
Okay.
Right.
I'll go. I want to, just let people know and leave behind that it is important to make your own lane in your own way. And it's okay to be an individual. I also want people to know that you can do whatever you want to do, no matter how long it takes, but to make sure that you do it to the best of your ability and you stick with it. Finish what you start, whatever way that is. And when you do finish on a high note. Don't finish because you got to finish, or don't finish because people not using no more. Finish when you're ready because you've done well. And you can lay down every day once ballroom is over and say, job well done.
Yeah. True too. I think last is Lariah.
Yeah.
Last. Yeah, that question was hard. I'm still thinking about that. But to piggyback off of what Father Mario said, just for people to know you can do whatever you want to do. Try new things. Keep setting the bar higher and higher every time you come back. As far as myself, yeah, like just keep coming harder every time you can hit the floor. Just stay polished.
Lariah, where are you from? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Florida.
Florida. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. That was it. Thank you all for joining us tonight. This has been great. Fun.
Silly.
So good meeting the ones that I don't know. So good seeing and talking to those of you that I know and haven't connected with in a while. This was fun just to hear everyone's perspectives. Dante?
Yeah. So this is definitely a little bit different for me because usually I have my ring light, I have everything.
I know. You should have your studio.
I'm literally like in Texas right now, in Houston now, so I'm not like set up like I'm usually am. So this kind of threw me off a little bit. But no, I think all of y'all, and I like looking at y'all like all of you all, I think, add something so special to Ballroom. And that's not just me doing this because I'm a host of this live. It's like me actually genuinely saying, like, from you and Javon and you playing about, the thing. But no, Javon, like, I really like, no shade, like, Javon, you as a leader, like, you're a beast. Like I literally have watched like what you have done. Like so Jeremy, same thing. Like you're a beast. Like and you beat me like twice now for Father of the Year, and I'm so over it. But at the same time, like you deserved it. But you deserved it. Like no shade, you definitely deserve it. Like because you lead your chapter with like a stern and an iron fist. Like you deserve it, man. You moved them out of the way. Like Corey to you, like Corey, like I'll yeah, our connection is like so like wait, I'm scared of talking because I don't want nobody to get the wrong idea either. But and then
He's a top.
And then yeah, he's a top, but that don't have nothing to do with our connection, just to be
I'm just joking.
But and then like Mario, like I've learned so much from you, like watching you prior to being a father. So dope. And then Lariah, It's so dope. Like you turn it for the garçons. Like, so thank all of y'all for like being here, like enjoying
And
with
let's
this
be
conversation.
and let's be clear. Those tears was for me.
Ain't no tears.
It's
Get
okay.
in.
It's
Ain't no
okay.
tears. No
It's
tears.
okay to cry. I
Ain't no
want
tears.
to. I also want to acknowledge Jovan. And this goes back to like what I told Jeremy. You just never know who's watching you. I actually lived in Virginia for 3 years, Jovan. I used to see you in balls as an over. Some of your buddies, were buddies of mine. I was really close with Tanya back in the day. Just watching you all and seeing where you come from, like you turning it, and you've done a great job, and I admire you every time I see you in balls or I judge it. You look great, and you keep doing what you do, and I think you're unique. And I love to see you walk. So
Yeah, and can I add something too? To the younger leaders of Ballroom, Jeremy, Lariah, and Javon. Just keep doing your thing, so the people that come after you, they have something to follow. Even though people should always have their own lane, but like if you set that tone and you set the pavement down for them, it just makes it much easier, way much easier. And no one, although either in your own house or people that you may be looking for the recognition from may not give it to you, but trust me, nothing in Ballroom goes unnoticed. Everybody sees it, even if they don't say nothing. People will watch. Like you can make a post, right? You can make a post and get no likes, or may get only 5 likes, and then you go to Instagram Live and you got 5,000 viewers. You get what I'm saying? So they will watch it. They're always watching you, even if they don't comment. They're always watching. So we see what's going on, and kudos to all the young leaders, and just pave the way for people to follow you.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy, if you haven't seen the Paragon video flyer, you should see it. You're in it. I'm actually having a ball July the 3rd in Chicago. It's called Paragon 10, and it's a video flyer for all the categories, and you're in it. So before you go to bed tonight, look at the flyer. You're in it.
Come on, plug.
Shameless plug.
I'm mad at it. I am not mad at it.
I want to say to y'all, I really appreciate this because when it first came to me, like I never did this before, like the whole this. So I was like, I ain't even telling my father because he don't do this either. So it's like telling Father Tony, he's like, oh, you good. So moral of the story, my mom was just like, bitch, I don't want to get on it. But now after 2 hours, I feel comfortable enough to probably inbox any of you like, hey, I got a question. What do you think about so and so and so? So I just want to say I really appreciate that because I'm open, to reach out. That makes sense.
That's part of why we do these. That's part of what we want at Capital Ballroom Council is to increase communication between people, houses, borders. We definitely want that. So thank you for dropping that in there. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much. Don't forget this Sunday, Pride in the Park. Pride in the Park out in Montgomery County. Visit the Capital Ballroom Council's Facebook page. Get a flyer, $100 each category. It's a daytime ball. It's free. Come out, have a good time. Dante, any last words?
No, just thank all of y'all again. I'm so glad that all of y'all could be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Mario, inbox
Thank
me
you
that
for having
flyer,
us.
All right. You know what? I was about to do it right now, actually. You beat me to I'm about to send it to you. You're going to be like, damn, I'm up in
that flyer.
Awesome. Thank you all again and have a good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Let's go. Let's go.